Welcome, Scorpio, to your vernal equinox 3-month forecast for the ascendant, the sun, or the moon. Each year, when the sun returns to the first zodiac sign of Aries, we welcome in a new astrological year. But we also usher in cardinal quadrant 1. Western tropical astrology is predicated on the seasons, and we have 4 cardinal quadrants. The first from Aries. Cardinality is very much about authority and action, and the sign of Aries, being ruled by Mars, your traditional ruler, is very much about initiation. So what will it mean for you personally, Scorpio? I'm going to share your event chart from a purely Scorpionic viewpoint and give you a picture of what you can expect in terms of relationships, energy, work, and money over this next 13-week period. I'm astrologer Patrick Arundell. A very warm welcome. If you've yet to subscribe to the channel, please do so now to help it to continue to thrive. So on the screen is your event chart, Scorpio, and there's the sun on that very first degree. The intriguing thing about the sign of Aries, it has a reputation of being very go-getting, perhaps a little bit impulsive, acts now, thinks about it later. But the welcome in committee includes the dreamy drifting Neptune for the first time in 150 years, but also the very cool detached Saturn for the first time in about 28 years. But for you, despite that reputation for action, the host is the 6th house, and the 6th house is very much about practicality. So it's using that furnace of that Aries energy, but in a very functional way. And that means over the next 3 months, particularly if you're wanting to get fitter, you're wanting to change your job, you're wanting to get your world running a bit more ordered, this is a great event chart for you. But what I want to reassure you is that your ruler, Mars, your traditional ruler, Mars, is, as this event starts, in a sensational link with Jupiter. When Mars and Jupiter get together, there's a sense that nothing is beyond us. And because Mars for you, it may be in the watery Pisces, which is not its optimum home, but it is in the 5th house, which is very much about having the confidence to strut our stuff in a very self-assured way. And because Jupiter is very much about belief, optimism, and being very outgoing, and the 9th house is about expansion, possibly travel, higher education, if you're enthusiastic about something at the moment, that's going to be amplified many times over these next 3 months. And all that these guys are saying in the functional 6th house is if you can take your idea or your connection and turn it into something that's very workable, it has a great chance of success with that very powerful trine. But also your modern ruler of Pluto in that very sensitive 4th house, and full time now for just over about 2.25 years, has been asking Scorpio people to get more and more aware of what's really at the root of your existence. That can be emotionally, but it can be practically around where you live. But that's in a very strong link with the steady eddy of the zodiac, Saturn. So I feel at the moment, if you are wanting to demonstrate flair around an idea that you have, and you want to convert it into something that works in a way that has a tangible outcome, the link between Pluto and Saturn is extremely strong, and particularly if you want to change some part of your home. So that could be a reorganization, it could be a refit of some kind, but it can be very positive for you over the next 3 months. And that energy of Mars and Jupiter just gives you a real buccaneering spirit. The 6th house can sound a little bit unsexy, but Mars and Jupiter definitely bring a dash of color to this event. But Neptune, of course, can be very much about healing, and it can be about imagination. Its downside is it can be eroding and in subtle ways. So if there's some part of your life at the moment that isn't quite as virtuous as it could be. It may be around what you're eating and drinking. It could be around working too late or long hours. It may be about not getting enough quality sleep or enough exercise. Neptune could have an impact if you're not too careful. But if you work in an environment where you want to get satisfaction from what you do and you're not really enjoying what you do at the moment, I think the chances are with that Mars Jupiter energy, you may start looking for another job that helps you to give that assistance to people, that creates that personal satisfaction, almost like a spiritual soul energy. But the functionality of Saturn means that it still needs to work for you in terms of what you get paid, the hours you work, fitting it around your children if you have any, and so on. However, we do have Venus and the moon in a conjunction in this sixth house. The moon in the sixth house is somewhat Virgo like, so you're going to be more aware of imperfections. Venus softens that a little bit, but if you can certainly have a job or do something with your interest that gives you that sense of getting fitter and healthier, but also gives you a sense of order, it's going to be a great way to embrace this energy. Now, as far as relationships are concerned, Uranus has been in that seventh house for 7 long years, apart from the 4 months last year, but it's still in a great link with the Sun at the start of this event. So if you have been having some kind of connection to someone, even if you've met that person in a very ordinary place, it could be an underground platform, it could be at the fitness suite, it may be at the supermarket queue or at a swimming club. I feel that the Sun's link to Uranus suggests if there is a spark, but you can also relate in a down to earth way, that tie could go forwards. If you've yet to have that connection with someone over the next 3 months in those very mundane locations, don't be surprised if somehow a spark does occur. If you're traveling over the next 3 months, because of Jupiter being in that ninth house, there is also the chance, even if you're traveling with work, to have a connection. Now, in terms of your social interaction and even dating recently, Mercury may have been a mischief maker, but Mercury goes direct on the 20th of March, but just slightly after this event. So that's great. Even if there has been someone that you've been kind of connecting to, but it's not quite flowed, maybe little snags have come up, people's routines, their work, their children, the care of them. And Saturn might be responsible for that, but Mercury going direct is going to be very productively supportive for you. So a chance for things to start to flow, but I feel the output for you personally is going to be a little bit more on the practical side. Just be aware if you are overdoing it in terms of late nights, not getting the right nutrition, not getting enough exercise, you're doing a job that's draining and not satisfying, there's someone around you who's very picky and critical. This is an opportunity to try to take control of what you can influence. And remember, Aries energy is about taking that initiative. So the more that you can do that, the more you can work this energy in a productive way. So to summarize, as far as your romantic situation is concerned, I think you could meet someone if you're single in a very ordinary situation, but there's something about them or you jointly together that's larger than life, even if the initial connection seems to be really quite humble. When it comes to your work, if you're not enjoying it, I think you will look for a new role. When it comes to your home situation, getting things a bit more ordered and delegating, if you're very conscientious, some of the tasks you do to other people is going to be a smart thing to do. As far as money's concerned, Scorpio, the fifth house where your traditional ruler Mars is, of course, Mars, through its rulership of Aries, can be about risk, and the fifth house can be about speculation, and Jupiter can be about luck. Do you know, as long as you examine the details, and that's really the phase you're going into, making sure that when you think it through in a dry way, what would be the benefits then you'll get to the point of knowing whether it's worth going for or not. But I wouldn't be too impulsive when it comes to your money if you're looking at a new opportunity. In terms of marshalling the resources you've got, I think that link with Pluto, which can be about money, and Saturn suggests you're going to be quite canny. Venus can also be about money, but again, in the sixth house, although Venus in Aries can be impulsive, in the sixth house, I think again it's conditioned by a bit of realism. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been a real pleasure being with you. If you've yet to watch your Pisces new moon video, please do so now. If you've yet to watch your Mars in Pisces video, please do so now. You can get your free daily horoscope fired to your device each morning for your cosmic pit stop. For that moment of reflection, please see the link below. I've written these for many years. It would be great to have your company. If you'd like to work with me one-to-one, please see my testimonials below. If you'd like to order your personal horoscopes, they're great value, they're very accurate, they're unique for each person. If you are emerging in your interest in astrology, the Life Roadmap Report particularly can help you to understand the patterns that have played out in your life so far and gain greater understanding, the forecast when to time your moves. There's 50% off on Natal. Please apply Astro 26. 50% off on the Draconic, the Soul Karmic version. Please apply Draco 26. Wishing you all the best over the next 3 months, Scorpio, and goodbye.